Hello, welcome back to Math Time with Professor Prime, and I'm your host as always, Professor Prime. And today we're going to talk about math and Smash Ultimate, aka Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. A massively fun, massive game. So let's get into it. So to start, if you didn't know, Smash is an ongoing series that has been kicking around for a while, 20 or so years. And it was created by Masahiro Sakurai. And that dude has poured a lot of time of his life into this series. And when it comes to Smash Ultimate, it is huge. It is pretty much the Smash Bros. And all other Smash Bros. It has Ultimate in the name for a reason. And so this is how I see this video going. I'm going to talk about the game a bit and the gameplay and the different options. I do so, I'm going to be talking about the math and how it's used in each of these scenarios. And I'm also going to talk about my experience with the game, but also the series as a whole, and just talk a little bit about everything. So I would say spoilers ahead, but I'm not going to really get into too much as far as that's concerned, and there's really not a lot to spoil. So yeah, let's get into it. So, Smash Ultimate has a total of 89 playable characters, which is insane, with 104 stages total. And that is wild to me. But even if you didn't count downloadable characters, or you just never bought any of the downloadable characters, you'd still have 74 characters to play from. 63 being from all of the Smash games that preceded Smash Ultimate, with 11 new characters. So what's interesting about all that is, well, one, you could already see there's a lot of math just in describing the game, right? But the thing about having that many characters is, one, it's a lot of characters, but some of those characters are, third-party characters. And so when they had this game, they had to make sure they had all the licensing, stuff situated, right? Because they had to go and get these licensing rights for all of the characters that have been in Smash before, which is insane. And so when I think about that, it's wild to me. But yeah, so I mentioned that there were 74 base characters and there's 15 downloadable characters. And we'll get into the downloadable character stuff a little later, because I do want to talk about that. But I want to take this time to start to talk about the gameplay and then kind of circle around about to it, because I have some things to talk about in terms of decision making when you're buying DLC. But we'll get to it. So before I go any further, my phone has been kind of acting up lately, so it may freeze, and I will be on the watch for that. But just letting you know, it could happen, and I'm going to try to make sure I catch it when it does. But going forward, so the gameplay, right? I'm just talking about the standard gameplay and how Smash typically functions. Is you can't get around talking about that without math, because the general way that you fight these battles is you have up to 8 players fighting each other in these different arenas, and you have a damage percentage counter that you can see at the bottom of the screen for each character. And the idea is you go higher and higher and higher, and it's easier to knock people out of the ring, because in most cases that's your goal, right, to knock people out of the ring. But that is not your only way of winning, right? And to add to that, it depends on what mode you're playing, right? Because there are different types of modes. There's so many modes, so many options, right? But the 3 big ones for standard battles are timed, stock, and stamina. And they each bring something to the table mathematically and gameplay wise. When you're talking about time, yeah, you'll still have those damage counters. Yes, you're trying to knock people out of the ring, but you're limited by time, which can be set. And the thing about that is, right, so if you don't win in a time frame, someone else may beat you to it, and so that was time battle, right? And that works how it typically works in a lot of fighting games, right? You have to beat things in a certain time. Um, but then there's stock battles, right? And I wish they were described differently because I always have to remember what those are in the context of the game. And the idea is like you have a certain amount of lives, stocked up, and you can choose that too. But whoever wins is like the one who survives that has the most life or lives left at the end of that, right? And you can still do the things like knock people out of the ring and all that good stuff. And another big one is stamina battles, which I think a good way to describe that would be like, so you have the idea of stamina, which functions like health does in most other fighting games. And you have a certain amount of stamina at the beginning, and those values can be set too. But the idea is, you go to zero, you lose. The other person goes to zero, they lose. And there are numerical values for that. Like you might start off at 100 stamina points, but you could also start off at 150 depending on your settings. And the idea is like you still want to have as much as you can before going to zero. And so those are just like the main type of battles. And like but within those battles, there's so much there's so much level of nuance. I don't know. It would not have sounded bad if I just said that in the first place. But anyway, like right, you can choose to have items on or off, and different items affect you. Like they may make you more powerful. They make you harder to hit. They may recover your health if they're like a food item. They may deal more damage to your opponents. There's a lot of different options, right? And you can play against a computer, but you could also play against friends. You can play locally. You can play online, and there's a lot of mapping how all those things function and flow. But outside of the traditional Smash stages, there's a lot to consider. But before going into that, I wanted to mention like Super Smash or Final Smash. Okay, so with Final Smashes, like if you're not familiar with those, they're the ultimate attack. Like you can be building up the gauge as you go on or hit a smash ball, and in this case, with the smash balls, there's ones that are legit, and then there's ones that aren't, right? And I always have to remember which one is which, but you have like the four on them, and they have to be situated right. And it's not coming out how I want it to come out right now, but you'll know once you get used to it, right? Because I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I don't know why I'm freezing up on that. But the whole point is there's two different balls, and if you get the right one, it can unlock your gauge fully. But even if you don't get the smash balls, you can actually build the gauge. There's like a representation of that gauge if you're looking at it carefully enough, right? It's like a rainbow colored gauge, and it goes from zero to full, right? And so right there, that gauge is a representation of what you're doing in battle, like numerically, to get to that point. And with the with the ultimate smash, oh my god, Final Smash, it will typically win a battle, but it's not guaranteed to win a battle. And I say typically because most of the time, right, by the time that you get to a point where you can actually use your Final Smash, you would have already dealt like a bunch of damage to your opponent or got their damage percent up a lot. There's a more eloquent way to say that. It's redundant. Like you're doing a lot of damage either way, right? But so it usually will end the fight because you already done so much. But like if you're starting off fresh, it might not do so much, right? Like if somehow you got like the smash ball early on for whatever reason, or if you were just like going through most of the fight and you haven't taken that much damage, if someone gets like their final smash, it might not take you out. When the situation is reversed, you could say the same. But going forward though, right? Like, so there's so many different gameplay options and customization options, but that's not all, right? Because you have your things like your typical Smash or classic Smash and all that, but then you have a bunch of other modes. And one of the big modes that I want to focus on is the World of Light, because it comes with a whole bunch of math in it. Right? It comes with a whole lot. Like, you're going to get your bang for your buck if you actually take the time to explore the World of Light. And the idea is like you're going around in this world, you're dealing with a very, very small plot, but you're going and you're unlocking, different characters, and you're also unlocking different spirits and working your way up till you beat down everyone in that realm, and you get a lot out of it. And one of the big things is like spirits, right? You can get them through the world of light. You can get them on the spirit board, and the idea is like they can do different things for you. They can bring up your attack. They can bring up your speed. And they can provide immunity to certain things, right? Because like the thing about like the stages is sometimes they might have like stages that put you to sleep or poison you, or the controls will get reversed. There's a lot of different stages that do a lot of different things, and if you want to combat them, it can be handy to have certain spirits. And so when you're in the world of light, it's a great opportunity to get a lot of like uh, items as well as a lot of spirits. And with these spirits, like they themselves can be powered up, and some of them, when they get to like let's say 99 for instance, once you get enough like points to power them up, you can have them transform into something that's even better and then power up that form, right? So they can go to 99 with that form. And I don't know why they chose 99 over 100 for some of those things, but yeah. So as far as I remember, like they all max out at 99 if you can get them there. And you will accrue multiple spirits, and you could dismiss those spirits, or you could use them to summon other spirits. And if you dismiss them, they give you more points to play around with. So you get your spirit points from various sources, and those spirit points allow you to level things up and do some cool stuff. And then you also get gold that you're winning that allow you to like buy different items and things like that. And there's item stores, and you can buy items, and there's a lot of math and how all that works, and there's a lot of math and resource management. It's not as bad, I think, in some other games, but it's like you can build up some resources, and you got to decide, oh, well, I want to do this or do that. And when you're on like the spirit board, for instance, you actually get items for that too, and you can shuffle down things around, do a rematch against people, and that's pretty cool. And you get certain items that allow you to do these things, and fill in missing slots once you've gotten them out, and there's math and all that. And then once you fight a spirit in the spirit board mode, like there's a better way to say that, but the idea is like they'll have a circle going around them, and it could be slow or it could be really really fast. It can be spaced out or really really tight, and so you'll have items that will like slow it down or space it out, but you'll have a limited amount of those, and so you have to decide what you want to do. And there's different classes for the spirits, right? You might have something that's like a novice, but you might have something that's advanced or ace or legendary, and that is going to affect how you play. Also, one of the things that I wanted to mention, going back to just like the regular gameplay in general, is I mentioned like Final Smash and all that, but what's really cool about like a character such as like Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is that not only can he do Final Smash, but he can also build up a smaller limit gauge that'll allow him to do different limit breaks from the game. And his Final Smash is his like his ultimate limit break, Omni Slash, which is one of the coolest things in gaming. Like period, man. I like limit breaks anyway, but that is like the coolest one. But I mean, I haven't really seen a lame limit break for context, but that is definitely high up there. I don't think you get cooler than Ollie Slash, but yeah. So and then there's math and just how limit breaks work. But I'm trying to think because there's so much to it. So with the World of Light, like I mentioned, you get a lot of bang for your buck with that. Like you could literally get hundreds of hours out of that if you play that multiple times, and you can get a lot of good items, a lot of good characters, a lot of buffs, a lot of good stuff. Smash in general is very mathematical in its nature. And Smash Ultimate is so big, so massive. There's no way that it's not mathematical. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing because, right, you don't have to do the math on paper. You don't have to do the math on paper, but you're doing the math, right? You may not always write it down, but you're doing it. And you don't always have to see it in the game, but it's there. And before talking about things on a more meta level, or I guess kind of leading into it, is the idea that like so with DLC, right? Like even if you don't get any DLC, you're still getting a massive game. You're still getting 74 base characters. Um, and yeah, so it's cool. But if you decide to get, the DLC characters, you'll get the character themselves. You'll get the different stages and items and music associated with them. So you gotta decide what you want to do with that. And then the other thing is like, do you get all of the packs or do you get specific ones? How's that gonna work for you? Like, and is that a good decision financially? Right? It's gonna depend on your situation. For me, I didn't get every character, right? Like I got like four. I got four DLC characters. They cost me like $5, and this was spread out over $5 each for the record. So $20 total, but spread out like across time, like between when they started doing DLC up until now. And I do think that like Nintendo, they were pretty smart about how they dished out the DLC characters. There was always a lot of mystery up until that last one with like, what are they gonna do? Who's gonna be the next person to enter the battle? Coughing. I'm coughing. I wasn't talking about the Pokemon coughing. Coughing wasn't in the battle, but like he was a spirit, if I'm not mistaken. Coughing or reason, one of them. There's a lot of spirits, in that game. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so I feel good in the decisions that I made about the game because I didn't need every character. I wasn't interested in having all the characters. But what I did get was like Sephiroth was the first one that I got. So I got Sephiroth from Final Fantasy VII, the hero from the Dragon Quest games, Kazuya from Tekken, and Sora from Kingdom Hearts. So those were the four that I got. The other ones I'm like, they're okay, but they either weren't from like franchises that I messed with like that, or I just wasn't interested in them. But did have to decide what I wanted to do, if I was going to get any DLC at all, or which ones it was going to be. And so with the DLC characters, I make it a point to definitely use those. Also, while we're here, I tend to use Cloud as my main. I alternate between him and Zero Suit Samus. But I try to use a bit like of all the characters here and there, but those are the two that pop up the most, and it's been Cloud lately. Um, and yeah, but I've been enjoying like the DLC characters that I did get over time. Like I think like Sephiroth is really fun to use. But if you do the classic mode with him, um, it's annoying because he's fighting all of like the boss characters pretty much. But at the same time, it's Sephiroth and he's wrecking them. So you know. But that does remind me though, when you're going through, that classic mode, which is pretty much, arcade mode. There's a lot of math in that too, because in addition to like the way that the game works in general, in terms of the damage that you're dishing out, and items and all that good stuff, like you're building up your score, and there's a bonus level towards the end. And you're going through that too, and then when you get to the credits, you can accrue more points, and that allows you to see how much points like each character built up, but also, you combine that score with the score that you did through that playthrough, and that gives you your total score of your character. And you could look through that and try to break your own records, or if you're playing with friends, see if they can break your record for this character or that character. And meanwhile, you're looking and you can see the total amount of points that you've accrued with your characters, like taking their highest points. So I think that's cool. But yeah, so there's a lot of math in Smash. There's a lot to get out of it, a lot of different modes, a lot of customizations, a lot of characters. I think it lives up to the name Ultimate. If there's one point of criticism that I'm going to say in this video, because even though it is an awesome game and one of my favorites, even though I've played a lot of Smash games in the past and I think it is the best one, I will have to say they done people dirty as far as Devil May Cry characters and having Dante in the game. And for the record, having Dante is a me costume doesn't count as having Dante in the game. That was busted, right? And the last character to have come out was Sora, right? And that's it. So no more DLC for, and to this day, no Dante in Smash, no Devil May Cry character in Smash, and that is unfortunate. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, even if you never had Devil May Cry characters in a Smash game, they are in other fighting games, i.e., Marvel versus Capcom. And but even if you didn't have them in Marvel versus Capcom, and specifically I'm thinking three, um, and uh, three Ultimate, because that one had like Virgil in it too, in addition to like Dante and Trish. Um, but even if you didn't have that, the Devil May Cry games are so fun in their on their own. I think there's just this urge to have them in different fighting games, like different. Sorry, having Devil May Cry characters in different fighting games because, like, I mean, they can transition into it so well. Like, you're doing combos after combos in those games. You're dealing with different weapons, different special attacks. Like, right, they work so well. Like, Devil May Cry characters work so well in a fighting game scenario. And I think, like, when you play a game like Marvel vs. Capcom 3 or Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, whatever the case may be, um, you really see that. And for the record, I know that, like, yes, you still had Devil May Cry characters in Marvel versus Capcom Infinite, but dear God, it wasn't the same. But in general, those characters are really fun. But I am digressing hard. So my main point though was just that Smash is ultimate, but it isn't perfect, right? Because they again, dun dun. Okay, so I think I went through all this video without it freezing up until that moment, which I may or may not edit out depending on how much work that feels like, or depending on how much time I have. But what I wanted to say is, yeah, they done people dirty on not having Dante or any other Devil May Cry characters in that game. And again, the Mii costume doesn't count. It doesn't. It doesn't. But yeah, so I hope you got something out of this video. And if you play Smash, like, let me know who you main. Like, let me know what you think about the game, and if you have anything to add to the conversation, please let me know, because Smash is a huge game. There was no way I was gonna be able to talk about every single thing in that game and how math is used in it. So feel free to let me know, okay? Because it's used in the gameplay, sure, but it's used in that more meta sense too, right? Because math went into the budgeting, into every decision, into the programming, into the world, into, you know, deciding what the gameplay would be like. And I don't want to sound redundant, so I'm going to stop it here. But yeah, just saying that there's a lot of math all up in Smash, because there's a lot of math in gaming, because there's a lot of math everywhere. Math isn't just what we learned in school, and we're doing it all the time, whether we're writing it down or not. It's just that what we learned in school allows us to talk about it. It allows us to communicate about it, to problem solve with it, to use it for larger purposes. But the fact is, whether or not we discovered how math could be used, it was always there. And I like talking about math and gaming because it combines two of my passions. And being a mathematician, like on that more professional scale, has helped me become a better gamer. And being a better gamer has actually helped me, you know, be a better mathematician. I think that's all cool. So yeah, again, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. And remember, math is not your enemy. We teach it weirdly, but that's the system's problem. It doesn't have to be yours. We can change how we think and talk about math. Stay awesome.